Hello everyone. So this is 25th of February and here we are with the Hindu discussion. Okay. So first page and second page is having ads from this tree. Now let us try to and third page is also having ad. Similarly fourth page is also having ad. Now sixth page is containing certain things which can be of importance for us. Okay. So Supreme Court expand judicial team to aid Bengal SIR process. Center to roll out free HPV vaccination drive. Okay. Now, what is this vaccination drive? Let us try to understand. Okay. Let me zoom it so that things can be read. I think now it is visible. So, recently, the Union Ministry is set to launch a nationwide human papillomavirus vaccination program targeting girls aged 14. The sorry, the vaccination will be voluntary and free of cost, ensuring equitable access across socioeconomic groups. India will use Gardasil quadrivalent HPV vaccine for protection from HPV type 16, 18, which cause survival of cancer, uh, and type 6 and 11. Global and Indian scientific evidence confirms that single dose provides robust and durable protection when administered to girls in the recommended age group. A senior ministry official said the nationwide program will target girls aged 14 years at an age which HPV vaccine offers maximum preventive benefit well before potential exposure to the virus, the official said. A procurement method. To ensure uninterrupted availability and quality, India has secured HPV vaccine supplies through a transparent, globally supported procurement mechanism. So you should remember that under India's partnership with the Gavi, the vaccine alliance, Gardasil vaccines, which are approved by India's drug regulator and widely used internationally, have been made available for national program. Okay, so the vaccine name is uh, Gardasil. Okay, Gardasil is what? Gardasil is going to be used for human papillomavirus vaccination program, which is going to target girls who are in the age of 14 years. Okay, now we'll move to the next page because this page does not have much information which can be of importance for our examination. Okay, so let us jump to the editorial part as we generally do. Okay, so here is the editorial. So, an Israel visit it a strategic, economic, and regional impact. So, you all know that the Prime Minister is set to visit the Israel. Okay, so that is why this particular editorial has come. It has been written by Rajiv Agarwal, who is a foreign policy expert and a retired colonel and senior research consultant, Chintan Research Foundation. Okay, so let us try to understand what he is trying to say. I think uh, I think now it is visible to all of you. So the West Asian region is starting at the possibility of its worst ever military conflict with one of the largest American military buildups in the Persian Gulf. Okay, so he is saying that West Asian region is starting at the possibility of its worst ever military conflict. Okay, so he's saying that this time there will be a worst ever military conflict. Why? Because American military is building up. It's one of the largest buildups of the American military is seen in the Persian Gulf. Okay, so that is the thing. Now Iran is defiant and has refused to bow down to unreasonable demands from the United States. Okay, so you all know that the Trump was demanding certain things from Iran, but Iran has denied or defiant that they are defiant that they are not going to bow down to any unreasonable demands from the United States. Okay, so concurrently in Gaza, although the ceasefire has held since October 2025, the prospect of lasting peace still look remote. Okay, so he is further trying to say that although there is a ceasefire, official ceasefire in the Gaza, which is there since October 2025, but the future of this lasting peace is very very fragile. Okay, very very weak. Okay, in addition, emerging fault lines in region are drawing allies such as the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia into opposing military blocs. Okay, एंड इसके इन एडिशन मीन्स इसके अलावा जो है क्या हो रहा है कि इमर्जिंग जो फॉल्ट लाइंस है रीजन जो जो कि अलाइज है यूनाइटेड स्टेट और सऊदी अरेबिया, इसको जो है अपोजिंग मिलिट्री ब्लॉक्स में ला रहा है। ठीक है, तो ये दोनों किसके अलाइज है? दीज टू आर्स द अलाइज ऑफ द यूएसए। ओके, now in the midst of such an uncertain security situation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to undertake a 2-day visit to Israel, February 25-26। Okay, so कहा, so इस सब अनसर्टेन सिक्योरिटी सिचुएशन के बीच जो है प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जो है जा रहे हैं अपने 2-डे इसराइल के विजिट के लिए। ओके, दिस विल बी मिस्टर मोदी सेकंड विजिट टू इसराइल, और ये जो है मिस्टर मोदी का जो है सेकंड विजिट होगा इसराइल को लेके, फ्लोइंग हिज हिस्टोरिक फर्स्ट विजिट इन जुलाई 2017। इनका जो है पहला जो है विजिट, हिस्टोरिक विजिट जो था वो 2017 में था, द फर्स्ट बाय एनी इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर, और ये जो है पहला ही किसी इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर का विजिट था। ओके, सो इट सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट 2017 was the first visit by any prime minister, Indian prime minister, and also of the Prime Minister Modi, and this time he is going to be on the second 2-day visit to Israel on 25th to 26th February, which is going to be second of his visit to Israel. Okay, notably this is a standalone visit with no engagement with Palestinian Authority leadership, highlighting India's success in dehyphenating its Israel engagement. Okay, so इस time जो है this time they are not going to engage with the Palestinian Authority leadership. Okay, the question, however, that arises is why this visit. Question which is coming, that why there is a need of this kind of this visit right now. Okay, what role can India play in this fragile security situation in the region, and what role can India play in this fragile security situation in the region? With India and Israel facing similar security threats, how can they take this very important partnership forward? Okay, so there are certain questions which they are going they the answer most probably we are going to get here, such as that that the India and Israel have been facing similar security threat, then how they can build up a partnership which will be benefiting both of them. Okay, and what role the India can play in this fragile security situation in the region, and why there is this visit is there right now. Okay, so these things we are going to understand. Let us try to understand. So convergence in a security partnership. Okay, convergence means that there is an agreement between these two countries on the matter of security partnership. Okay, similarity. Okay, so convergence means that means two river is going to be met at certain point of time. Okay, so that is what is the meaning of convergence. Now let us see. Surrounded by surrounded by hostile neighbors, and as victims of frequent terror attacks, both countries have often set convergence on security and defense issues. Okay, so why there is a convergence or convergence on security and defense between these countries? Because of the fact that these two countries are surrounded by hostile neighbors. Okay, so if you see Israel, then they have Iran is there. Okay, okay, and there is entire Middle East. Okay, so they have been surrounded by the hostile neighbors. Similarly, India is also surrounded by the hostile neighbors, like you have Pakistan, you have China, and now Bangladesh is also there. Okay, and as victims of frequent terror attacks. Okay, so you all know that the terror attacks is frequent in India, in both India and Israel. Okay, and that is why both countries have sought convergence on the security and defense issues. Okay, now according to a Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, India has been Israel's largest defense customer for several years, accounting for about 34% of Israel's total arms exports between 2020 and 2024. Okay, so India is the Israel's largest defense customer. Okay, so India is purchasing around 34% of Israel's total arms export between 2024 and 2020 and 2024. Uh, the cooperation has gradually progressed from imports to joint development and technology collaboration. Over the past few decades, Israel has provided India with a number of cutting-edge technology. Okay, so what Israel is providing right now is the cutting-edge technology. What is the meaning of cutting-edge technology? Cutting-edge technology as such technology which give you some kind of extra edge on other countries. Okay, the weapon and surveillance platforms such as unmanned aerial vehicles, missiles, special forces equipment, and radar system. The Barak 8 air and missile defense system, co-developed by India and Israel, is one such success story. During Israel, just 1 minute. During Israel Defense Minister Benjamin Gantz visit to New Delhi in June 2022, there was India-Israel vision on defense cooperation for enhancing cooperation in the field of futuristic defense technology. Okay, so India-Israel vision on defense cooperation. So this is important for the Brilliance perspective. In November 2025, India and Israel signed an agreement to deepen cooperation in defense industry and technology, including the sharing of advanced system to support joint development and production. For India, there were lessons from its experience in Operation Sindhu, the need for a strong and impregnable air, including anti-drone and missile defense shield under Mission Sudarshan Chakra. There are inputs that there could be a special focus on it during Mr. Modi's visit, including the procurement and co-production of Iron Dome. Sorry, Iron Beam. Okay, so Iron Beam. Uh, which is a 100 kilowatt high energy laser system capable of intercepting drones, rockets, and mortars efficiently and cost effectively. There are also reports that Autonomous Guard, an Israeli company, has signed a deal with an Indian private defense firms valued at approximately 1.9 million dollar, which would cover the supply of advanced surveillance and threat detection systems, specializing in sensor-based operation or observation technologies. Now, let us see in the domain of the science and technology and innovation link. Okay, so India has benefited immensely from Israel's success in modern technology and innovations, especially in agriculture, water, and electronics. There are more than 35 centers of excellence in India which are focused on in high quantity and high density production of flowers, vegetables, fruits, and beekeeping. Water management technologies too are critical, especially with many water scarce area in India. Mazhab, Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation under Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, signed agreements with Haryana in June 2022 and Rajasthan in December 2024 to collaborate on integrated water resource management and capacity building. With artificial intelligence rapidly emerging as a key driver of modern technology, it is expected to become a focus area in future bilateral cooperation and innovation initiatives. Uh, Israel-India bilateral trade is often overshadowed by security cooperation. It, however, remains a significant pillar of engagement. India is Israel's second largest trading partner in Asia, with the bilateral trade reaching $3.75 billion in financial year 2024-25. While merchandise trade continues to be dominated by diamonds, petroleum, and chemicals, the partnership is expanding into electronics, high-tech products, and communication and medical equipments. In September 2025, during the visit of Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, India and Israel signed a bilateral investment agreement. This was followed by signing of terms of reference for free trade agreement (FTA) during Commerce and Finance, India Industry Minister Piyush Goyal's visit to Israel in November 2025. With India having recently concluded several significant trade deals, the FTA with Israel could gain the necessary momentum during Mr. Modi's visit. Modi's visit. Israel is also keen to establish arrangements and exemptions for Indian infrastructure companies to participate in building critical roads and ports. Additionally, similar to India's agreement with Russia, Israel may pursue a deal to facilitate human mobility to attract skilled Indian talent. Another key aspect to watch during the Modi's visit is the progress of the India Middle East Economic Corridor announced at the G20 summit in Delhi in September 2023. This intercontinental connectivity project holds strategic significance for both countries. Although Gaza conflict had temporarily stalled the initiative, there is now a renewed sense of urgency to advance it. Uh, uh, Recent trade agreements with the European Union, Oman, and UAE are expected to boost trade in both value and volume, creating the need for a shorter and safer transport route. With the Suez Canal route vulnerable to disruptions from the regional conflicts, the India-Middle East Economic Corridor could provide an alternative secure corridor to Europe. But achieving lasting peace in Gaza remains crucial for the project's success. Now, Gaza peace progress and regional dynamics. Discussion on the Gaza peace progress is a definite likelihood. During the recent summit of the Board of Peace presided over by U.S. President Donald Trump on February 19, 2026, more than 50 countries participated, with some pledging $7 billion in funding and others committing troops to the International Stabilization Force. India attended as an observer and has not yet defined its role in the process. Given India's strong ties with both the Gulf region and Israel, discussions may include potential avenues for India's involvement in Gaza. Both leaders are also expected to discuss regional dynamics in depth, including developments in Iran, given the potential implications of conflict for India and the wider region, particularly with regard to India's energy security. India's hosting of the second uh, India Arab Foreign Ministers meeting in January 2026, along with Mr. Modi's visit. Oh, sorry. So, along with Mr. Modi's visit to Jordan and Oman and the visit of the UAE President in January 2026 demonstrate the careful balance that India has forged in the region. This sets the stage for a constructive and realistic discussion on various regional issues during the visit. Ahead of the Modi visit, Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted this: "We will create a hexagon of alliances around or within the Middle East. This includes India, Arab nation, African nation, Mediterranean nation, Greece and Cyprus, and the nations in Asia. The intention here is to create an axis of nations that see eye to eye on the reality, challenges, and goes against the radical axis. Both the radicals seat axis, which we have stuck very hard, and the emerging radical Sunni axis. India, however, does not necessarily see things in the region from this lens. How India reacts to such a proposal, given how close India's ties are with countries in the region, will also be a thing to be watched. Mr. Modi's visit is being closely watched as India and Israel are at vital points in their journeys. Despite domestic differences, the two have built a strong strategic partnership over the past decade. Mr. Modi's address to the NISET, a privilege usually reserved for US presidents, and his visit to a Jerusalem Innovation Center highlight the visit's significance. It is far more than routine diplomacy, with potential long-term implications for both countries and the region. Okay, so the now key points that we need to take from this particular editorial. This is a very good editorial highlighting the cooperation and the areas of cooperation between India and Israel. Okay, and what are the advantages or what are the outcome which most likely to be come out because of the Modi's visit, today's visit to Israel. Okay, so however, he has highlighted that this time this is going to be he has started this editorial discussion with the fact that the building of the US, one of the largest US military presence in the Persian Gulf, could worsen the situation, conflict situation in the Middle East between, because you know that the US is trying to to pursue Iran for its demand. However, Israel has rejected all unreasonable demands of the US, and that is most likely going to drive a conflict between US and Israel. Okay, so that is what he is trying to say. Okay, and also there is a emerging fault lines in the regions are coming in the allies such as United States Emirates and the Saudi Arabia. Okay, because they are going to be in opposing military blocks. Okay, so this much things we have done, and this time this prime minister is going to visit Israel, but they are not going to hold any engagement with the Palestinian Authority leadership. Okay, now there are certain questions that what role can India play in this fragile security situation in the region? Then, with India and Israel facing similar security threats, how can they take this very important partnership forward? Okay. Now, then we understood about the convergence in the security partners. Okay. Then we know that surrounded by hostile neighbors and as victims of frequent terror attacks, both countries have often sought convergence on security and defense issues. I made you understand this very point also, okay, by giving the examples of how host, hostile neighbors are present in both countries. Okay, in India you have Pakistan, China, now Bangladesh. In Israel you have Iran, okay, and all the Middle East countries. Okay, according to not all but most of the Middle East countries, according to the Stockholm International Peace and Research Institute. Just a minute. Yes, SIPRI, India has been Israel's largest defense customer for several years, accounting for about 34% of Israel's total arms export between 2020 and 2024. The cooperation has gradually progressed from imports to joint import and technology collaboration. Okay, then we know that over the past few decades, Israel has provided India with a number of cutting-edge technology, weapon and surveillance platforms such as unmanned aerial vehicles, missiles, special forces equipment, and radar systems. The Barak 8 air and missile defense system, co-developed by India and Israel, is one such success story. During Israel Defense Minister Benjamin Gantz visit to New Delhi in June 2022, there was the India-Israel vision on defense cooperation for enhancing cooperation in the field of futuristic defense technologies. Okay, then sharing of advanced system to support joint development and production. Okay, then Iron Beam. There is a thing going on that Mr. Modi is going to include the procurement and co-production of the Iron Beam this time. Okay, in his visit. Okay, now what is Iron Beam? So what is Iron Beam? So it is a 100 kilowatt class high energy laser system capable of intercepting drones, rockets, and mortars efficiently and cost effectively. Okay, so that is the thing. Then we also understood that the significance of the science, technology, and innovation link. Okay, and then we understand that the uh, that there could be progress on the India Middle East Europe economic corridor, okay, which was announced at the G20 summit in Delhi September 2023, okay, during the visit of Prime Minister Modi to Israel, and now there is because why there is a most likely that discussion is going to happen on IMEC, because of the fact that because of the conflict in the Gaza, and now build up between Israel and US, disruption the traditional trade route between India and Europe could be disrupted because of this. That there is a urgency now felt to advance the progress on the uh, 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 IMEC. Okay, so now see Suez Canal route vulnerable to disruption for regional conflict. So IMEC could provide an alternative, secure corridor to Europe. Okay, so I think now and recently what has happened that India has hosted the second India Arab Foreign Ministers meeting in January 2026. Okay, okay. So I think the things are clear. Okay, now India's trade strategy in multipolar world. Okay, so it is written by Chandrajit Banerjee, the Director General of the Confederation of Indian Industry. I think this thing we need to discuss, but we will discuss after certain point of time. So, evolving nature of trade agreements. Okay, this is a good thing. Does the Data Act dilute the right to information act? So this is important. Let us discuss this first. Okay, and if you see the right to information, they have asked many a times in the UPSC prelims examination. Okay, so this time I think means there can be a question in the means. Okay, because RTI has been in news throughout the year. Okay, so let us see. So does the Data Act dilute the Right to Information Act? Why is blanket exemption to any information which relates to personal information problematic? Now let us try to find out. The petition challenging the amendment to the Right to Information Act that provides blanket exemption for personal information through a section in the Personal Data Protection Act Act has been referred to a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court. How has the DP Act framed? The Supreme Court in Puttaswamy 2017 had declared the right to privacy as a fundamental right, primarily under Article 21, right to life and liberty. It is also an overarching right that includes freedom of speech and expression, Article 19. In this judgment, the court had directed that the government must put forward a data protection regime. The government had constituted a committee under the chairmanship of Justice B.N. Krishna to deliberate and report on data protection framework. The committee submitted its report and a draft bill on data protection in July 2018. Subsequently, in August 2023, Parliament passed the Data Protection Digital Person Data Protection Act 2023. Okay, so I think yes, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Okay, in 2023, the DPDP Act provides the legal framework for the protection of personal data of individuals known as data principals, which they share with other persons, companies, and government entities. Data fiduciaries. Okay, now what is the controversy? So the RTI Act 2005 was enacted to provide citizens with the right to seek information from public authorities. Now, Section 8, 1J of the RTI Act stipulated that the information which relates to personal information, the disclosure of which has no relationship to any public activity or interest, or which would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy of individual, need not to be provided. However, if the appropriate authority was satisfied that larger public interest justified the disclosure of such information, the same could be provided. Section 44(3) of the DPDP Act amends Section 81J of the RTI Act. It provides a blanket exemption to any information, exemption to any information which relates to personal information without any exceptions. The statement of objects and reasons while introducing the DP bill is silent about the aim of this amendment. It may be inferred that it is to protect the fundamental right of the privacy of public officials that cannot be abridged or taken away by parliamentary law. However, this amendment has been challenged in Supreme Court through a series of petitions on the ground that it is ultra vires in the Constitution. It is ultra vires in the Constitution. Okay. This has now been referred to a bench considering constitutional sensitivity of the questions involved. What can be the way forward? The Supreme Court has, in various cases, viewed the right to information as integral to Article 19 and 21. The RTI Act had a significant impact on increasing the transparency and accountability of the public authorities. Previously, the personal assets and liabilities of public servants, which they are required to periodically submit to government, were disclosed by public information officers under the RTI Act if it served larger public interest. This had been used to probe any allegation of corruption by public servants. However, with the current amendment, such information would be declined on the ground that it is related to personal information. It enables rejecting requests concerning even procurement records, audit reports, or public spending on the premise that it could be personal information. The court had remarked that it might lay down the guidelines as what is meant by personal information. This is a welcome step. However, the amendment of the RTI Act through the DP Act 2023 should be repealed. It should revert to the earlier position, which allowed the disclosure of personal information if it fulfill larger public interest. This provision already contain the required proportionate balance between the needs for privacy and disclosure with respect to the personal information of public officials. Okay, that is the thing. Now the rise of blue, the color that moved kings and royals before poets. I think let us see this India state strategy in a multipolar world. Okay, so India's recent global trade strategy aims to boost the exports and strengthen its position as a leading global trade partner. This has resulted in ambitious free trade agreements and a stronger presence in key international economic forums. In 2023, India updated its foreign trade policy with the goal of increasing export to $2 trillion by 2023, reinforcing our framework of strategic autonomy that supports sovereign decision making while engaging major global powers. According to the Department of Commerce 2025 year end review, India recorded a 6.05% annual increase in total exports, merchandise, and services combined, reaching $825.25 billion. A shift in approach. For many years, India adopted a cautious approach to free trade agreements. Sorry guys, unnecessary voice is coming. So we'll stop here. Okay, we'll do this discussion in separate discussion video. I hope this editorial and this explain section, not explain section. Yes, explain section. I think this much is clear now. So we will stop here, and the further discussion we'll do is in separate discussion when separate video when the unnecessary voice will not come. Okay, thank you.